For discrimination, we're used to models of discrimination, for example, with race, with gender, that you can tell what colour someone is, you can tell what race someone is, you can tell what gender they are just by looking at them, often by talking to them. And so it is relatively easy, if you like, to discriminate against people on the basis of gender or colour. We know that people are discriminated against if they have used services, but you have to think, well, what is it? If you can't physically see the difference between a mad person and a sane person, how is it that they experience discrimination? And the simple answer is it's that diagnosis, it's that application of a label. And if you look at the administration, if you think about the United Kingdom, the administration of our lives, our financial services, our applying for jobs, our applying for education, our driving a car, our travel, and so on and so forth. A lot of the administration of that asks you if you've had a psychiatric diagnosis, asks you if you've used mental health services. And because it is seen as a perfectly legitimate question, that enables the providers of those services to discriminate. And that discrimination is not only legal, but it's institutional and expected.
So people should stay in the closet. That was I said, if necessary.
You can entirely understand why people do. If by talking about your diagnosis and your experience, you are giving yourself higher insurance premiums, less chance of getting a job, less chance of getting a degree,
or a wife,
or a husband, why would you talk about that? But on the other hand, if we are to challenge the discrimination associated, we need to have more and more people who have ordinary lives, who feel comfortable about talking about their diagnosis. In the UK, there was an enormous step forward, for example, when the president of our Royal College of Psychiatrists, as he was then, talked about his own depression. And that was the first time you'd seen a leading psychiatrist who was elected by his peers to represent psychiatrists, talking about his own experience of mental ill health. That made a big difference. Now, actually, mental illness is quite high in psychiatrists, but they don't talk about it because they, more than anyone, know what the consequences of talking about it are. In England, we used to have specific guidance that forbade people with particular diagnoses from taking part in certain civic activities. So you couldn't be a school governor, you couldn't be a magistrate, you couldn't be a nurse. All of those things were denied to you if you had a psychiatric diagnosis. So it is an important distinction between the mad and the sane, and it's not one we have any choice of. Any more than you have choice of what gender or what colour you are. The essence of discrimination is being treated differently on the basis of something about which you have no choice. Actually, you can choose whether you be a psychiatrist or not. You can choose whether you want to be a nurse or not. You can choose whether you want to be an estate agent or a politician.
You can also choose whether you will do some good to other people by being ill.
Absolutely. But you have absolutely no choice of your diagnosis. And the way you're treated as a result of that is simply pinned on you by other people.